Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We have Game 3 for you today between Ninban and zelgadissan. I'm Spyleaver here, joined with Tracy up in the commentator booth. How are we doing this evening, Tracy?
I'm doing great. We've had a pretty interesting game 1 and 2 between these two runners, and I'll tell you what, I really hope they get a hook shot early, because I'm tired of seeing the hook shot on the Bombos tablet.
We were talking about that a little earlier. It'd be kind of interesting to see if as soon as these two runners get access to that Bombos tablet with no hookshot, if they go there right away. It'd be kind of something interesting to keep an eye out.
Yeah, whoever submitted this match wrote in the notes, Game 3 for a third hookshot on Bombos tablet, so they're already prepared for it.
If it's happened twice, you know it's on both of their minds. Getting to the changes, however, we're back to an open mode. 7 of 7 for this seed. We swapped it back to a normal one here.
Yep, and to get into the background, so in Game 1, Ninban did get the Bombos tablet hookshot, and Zelda missed it. They both had really good routes with Zelda when he went down into that area. Didn't have the Master Sword, picked up the Master Sword in Hype Cave, did not go back to the Bombos tablet. In Game 2, Zelda got the book early in Pod. Ninban didn't get that book till much later, so Zelda managed to get the hookshot on the Bombos tablet a lot earlier than Ninban because of it, and so each one has been bitten by it, so we'll see what happens in Game 3.
Either way, is definitely going to be a very interesting one here. We are in the round of 8. At this point, it's anyone's tournament. Looks like we are off both starting in the Sanctuary, and that looks to be it.
Yeah, not really much help right now. Does give them the option to go to the Dark Cross area from the back of Escape later on if they so desire. We'll see if that comes into play at all. Probably not.
Just depends where and if they find that map. Had a quick map check, speaking of which, from both of our runners. 3 regular crystals in the light world, it looked like.
Neither one going to check the Lumberjack at this point. Just going to go straight into the Lost Woods.
Definitely makes sense. Go get yourself some items right away. Leave that Lumberjack until you find those boots, because it doesn't matter if you get access to egg or not. If you don't have those boots, you can't get that item sitting in the Lumberjack leg.
And unfortunately, no bombs in either the tree pool or the bush crab, so they're going to have to hope they find some bombs or some money to buy some bombs. Oh, there's some bombs. There we go. Only 3, but that'll at least get them started.
It should be enough, at least for most of the Kakariko checks. Odds on are that they'll probably find a few more bombs through most of those ones in there, but either the well or blinds.
Okay, Ninban going to get into Kakariko just a little bit ahead.
As they dive down into the bottom of Blind's hut. Once again, this is another open world state. 7 crystals to get into Ganon's tower, 7 crystals to defeat Ganon. We're essentially back to what the round 1 match is. We're finding a blue cane and a moon pearl.
So we already have part of our Dark World Axis combination. Blue cane and you know, a nice safety item at this point. Probably not going to be required for anything. Could be required for a Spike Cave check later on, but that's a long ways from here.
Still a little early for some projections, but it's always fun just to kind of keep that in the back of your mind at this point. Down into the well. Piece of heart. 10 arrows out behind the bombable wall. 5 more rupees. 20 more rupees. And another 20 rupees. Imagine that, a whole bunch of cash in a way.
And still just the 1 set of bombs, so at this point they probably want to get at least 1 more.
20% cash back from the bottle vendor, too.
And neither one having quite enough at this point to go and buy bombs again. Oh, but we see a hammer, so that's a nice find. So now we have 2/3 of our Dark World access.
There we go. A good item to find early on. One of the more powerful weapons in the game. Does the same damage as a tempered sword, even though the hitbox for it's a little wonky. But once you get used to it, ooh boy, that's a good item to have.
And no bombs left, and not enough money for either runner to buy some more, so they're just going to leave. It could have some influence on their future routing, because with no bombs, they won't even be able to get into Mini Moldorm. And that heart container in the library, we're not coming back for that. And let's hope there's nothing good on the race game, because they can't get to it right now. No. 50 rupees. So they'd have enough to buy bombs if they could pick that up, but they can't, so never gonna see those 50 rupees.
Almost a little bit of a blessing in disguise at this point. Oof, there's a bottle hiding out in Link's hut.
Yeah, for those people that like to start at Link's hut and maybe go to Uncle, that bottle would have been nice before Kakariko. Looks like they're both gonna go ahead and at least check Uncle. Makes a lot of sense because, again, no bombs to do Mini Moldorm. They could do the dam area, but they can't get into any of the other South Shore checks or into Agina's cave until they have some bombs.
With that hammer in tow, though, I almost anticipate at least one of our two here to go down into the front of Escape.
You know, actually, that makes a lot of sense. We'll see if either one does do it. Of course, now they can buy some bombs. They have enough money.
Looks like they're both actually walking out just about as perfectly in sync as you can get here. We might be getting that front of Escape check.
And with that key, they could actually, if they want to, go all the way to the back. Hammer for Dark Room's not the best item to get through there. We'll see if either one decides to go for that. Or maybe they'll pick up a sword here or something that'll make it easier. Or even a lamp, I suppose.
Yeah, that could even still be hiding out down here for us. Yeah, or even maybe a fire rod. Oh, there's some bombs, just kind of waiting for them. It's like, oh, where are we going to go after here? Alright, as we do make our way through the front of Escape to a few more of the checks in the back. Quick shout out to both of our runners. Be sure to follow them over on their Twitch pages if you have not done so yet. We appreciate every little bit of support you can give them in putting on this great show that we are about to get here tonight.
So far, not a whole lot that we're getting here in front of Escape, but we still got some more items to check.
One more down in the bottom, Zelda Cell, Dark Cross, back of Escape. It'd be interesting to see if we do get an item down here, and then if either of our runners actually decide to do that hammer Dark Cross area.
And just a map in Zelda Cell.
Okay, so lets us know, since we did get a key in the Sanctuary, we have an item in Dark Cross as well as 3 back of Escape.
And I just realized that when the Argos Ninban dies, he turns into a heart container next to a crystal. That's pretty cool. But they are both going to go back there.
If you can get these checks out of the way and do this fairly well without a sword or any really helpful items, it's 4 items, so there's really no reason not to.
And we know it's 4 items. We've already seen the map and the key.
Zelda looking like making quick work of them over here. Made it through the first couple without even needing to pull out the hammer.
Oh, Ninban gonna pop that green potion and use the blue cane a little bit here.
Zelga's trying to find the right pixel there to find the chest. Ninban just did, however, I believe it was 20 rupees.
Yep, just 20 rupees. I mean, we're cash starved right now, but that's not really worth. Hopefully they make it to the back, which is still not going to be easy at this point. No fire source, no sword. The water helps out a little bit, kind of shows you where you're at. Zelga decided to place a bomb down. That also helps out because you can kind of see where the way the bomb moves kind of tells you where you're at. Zelga looks like he never did quite get those rupees. Yeah, he didn't get the rupees, so he didn't get any of the stuff he needed. So hopefully, you know, if he just decides to give it up, it won't be a big deal.
Looks like that's what Zelga's doing, piecing out of the back of Escape there.
Ninban, meanwhile, does make it all the way back.
Zelga heading off to the Eastern Palace. Ninban will give us a look here. That's a bow,
And
as well as the red cape.
Oh, I really hope that Zelga goes back for that at the right time. I think Ninban may be going straight over to Eastern Palace to go ahead and use that bow. May also do the Lake Hylia Island check and maybe buy some bombs as well.
Jumps off the ledge, takes a look at Lake Hylia Island, just a piece of heart. As he predicted, buying those bombs. Zelga also heading over to Eastern Palace. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it through those dark rooms in the back of Escape. Does not have the bow. So Ninban will actually be able to full clear Eastern Palace over here. Since obviously showing that those dark rooms really aren't too much of a hindrance.
Yeah, and of course, this won't all be in logic because we do not have any kind of fire source. So it looks like Zelga just wanted to check Sarasala, which makes sense. Not dipping into Eastern Palace right away because it is a crystal dungeon. A lot of runners will like to dip that if it's a pendant dungeon, knowing that they're probably not going to have to go back. But in this case, it being a crystal, he says, nope, we'll try and do it all in one fell swoop later.
Yeah, but almost a good save there for Zelga, not needing to double dip that dungeon. We do know where that bow is. It is not within logic quite yet. Either way, it'll just prevent Zelga, hopefully, from having to double dip Eastern Palace there, finding a piece of heart inside the day.
Okay, Ninban is going to go ahead and, you know, might as well complete this right now. The first few checks will be in logic. The big key chest, potentially the big key, potentially the big chest, and of course the Armos Knight's not going to be in logic because of the lack of a lamp.
Well, there's the big key. We'll be able to check that big chest on the way around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Zelga having a little bit of trouble with those bombs.
Oof.
Oh no. Takes another death.
Just an ill-timed explosion. Hadn't have enough hearts. Bounced him right back and down the hole. That was enough just to take him out. That is quite unfortunate. Zelga looks like we're heading right back down that way, however.
Yeah, and what's worse is with only 5 bombs, he has less of a fewer tries at it this time around.
Yeah, but we'll see if Zelga actually decides to pull out the hammer and try a few hammer hits here. A little bit harder to hit these crazy acting, bouncing mini Moldorms with the hammer. Or we can just do that if you get a full magic decanter.
That's a very timely magic decanter there. He wants to save at least a couple bombs there, at least one to get into Ice Rod Cave. You see rupees, a shield, a sword, flippers, and a heart container. So he might do some of those flippers checks. So without Zora money, he may not want to head right over to Zora itself.
Meanwhile, over on Ninban's side, I believe we've only seen one item so far, meaning we have two that are actually currently fire-locked. One here in the Vanilla Big Key location, and then one on Armo Snipe.
And Ninban, not having the sword that Zelda just picked up, is using the bow and arrow to get around. And with low hearts, he's going to go ahead and actually kill the enemies here instead. Oh, maybe. Oh, he's just getting enough enough energy so he can deboost onto that little button. He's going to have to be a little careful coming out.
Down to half of a heart. This next dark room can get a little dicey. Almost guarantee you'll see him drop down and grab a fairy for a refill before jumping in there.
Yeah, I do think the first dark room, the one he's already done, is probably one of the easiest ones in the game, if not the easiest. The one back here, I don't think it's the hardest, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, there's some of them monsters back here do get away from you a little bit. It can bounce you a few different locations. If you get too far towards the top wall as well, you actually won't pick up the pot there that's hiding the key. So that can kind of hold up some runners as well.
Oh, and there's a glove on Zelga's side, so he is going to get Dark World access first. Unfortunately, well, that actually could be really good for him. It could take him further away from the back of escape, but on the other hand, it might lead him straight there, since it's a lot easier to get there with the glove than it is to go through the dark rooms.
Definitely, I'd almost actually guarantee you it sends him right back there.
I sure hope
get
so.
These flipper checks done. You know, save and quit, go to the sanctuary. No better time to check those back once you that drop down than when you save and quit and go to sanctuaries.
Exactly. Going over here with 388 doesn't yet have enough money for King Zora, so we'll see if maybe he'll get some money here, or maybe we'll get a whole bunch of bombs. We could have the fun rupees on the Zora ledge here. Seen that one before.
That'd be well timed, but it's just a piece of heart today, so he gets that knowledge. So if there's a certain item that's missing that's up there, probably is going to be a while before Zelda gets back up there at this point.
And I'm sure this will be the back of escape play, so he'll get his bow in just a second.
Meanwhile, however, over on Ninban's side, didn't quite get the quick kill setup, just was able to get it down with enough arrows. At about 16 minutes and 30 seconds in, that is first blood for Ninban, taking down the Armos Knights and getting Crystal #1.
So now it'll be interesting to see on Zelga's side once he gets these gloves. Once he gets this bow, is he going to go over to Eastern, or is he going to just go to the Dark World? I'm going to guess it'd probably just go to the Dark World and hope to get a mirror to eventually combine Pod and Eastern together. Looks like he is going to go ahead and finish up the Dark Cross area. Unfortunately, this is only going to get him 20 rupees, but at least he won't have to worry about it any further.
Just one less place to leave is kind of a bad one-off for you. If you're around there, may as well get it knocked off. It's better to have no items and get something crossed off your map than have something that's completely out of the way and orphaned if you're stuck looking for a singular item.
And you can see how much easier this is when you have that sword with the sword sparkles to follow. Okay, there he gets those rupees, so let's see where he goes next. Okay, gonna get a, I guess we're gonna get a hype cave check here.
Okay, that's how we're gonna go in the Dark World, alright.
I mean, he could even just go into Pod right away. We'll see if that's even a crystal, though.
Not even gonna give us a map check. Gonna keep us on the edge of our seats here. Is going to Hype Cave, right?
Oh, there
we
it
go.
is.
There we go. 5-6 in Pod and TR. We got Pendants and Ice, Misery Mire, and a green, if I looked at that correctly, in Thieves Town.
Yeah, Pendant Thieves Town is just, in my opinion, it's the worst one. It's just about every other dungeon has some sort of way of gating itself. Thieves Town, pretty much, if you have Dark World access, you can finish Thieves Town. The only exception is if you have no sword and no hammer. So there's nothing to say, hey, this is the place to go. It just kind of sits there waiting for you to either do it or not do it. And, races are won or lost because of Thieves Town.
At the very least, though, it is the green pendant this time, so you do get that extra item if you decide to go all the way. Meanwhile, in Hype Cave, Zelda finding our Master Sword as well as a Bombos medallion.
Yeah, the Bombos medallion could be required for Turtle Rock. We hope that we don't need it for either Ice Palace or Misery Mire, because we hope not to go in those, since they are both pendant dungeons.
Yeah, but of course, Ice Palace Pendant isn't going to be that nice. There's obviously going to be something hiding in there. There always is.
Certainly wouldn't shock me at all. Let's see, is he going to grab these 50? Yeah, he's going to go ahead and grab these 50 rupees so that when the time comes to go back to Zora, he will be guaranteed to have enough money. Actually, that's not even quite true, because if he goes to Pod right now, he's going to lose 110. So this just gets him closer to that Zora money. Ninban, even further away from that Zora money, is still going to do the flippers checks here.
Yep, just following the logic, looking for those next items. Gonna go get the knowledge of what's on the ledge. A lot of times, too, races are won or lost based on knowledge. That's another one of those checks you'll see runners make, even if they don't have enough money for Zora himself, just in case there is something you might need on up there.
And to recap, since it's come up in chat, this is a regular 7-7 open mode. Game 1, of course, is always that way. Zelda, having lost Game 1, decided to switch it to standard, and Ninban, having lost Game 2, decided to switch it back to open.
Go back to what you know, and hopefully that gives you the advantage.
And there's our lamp. Not 100% sure he took that death on purpose, but it's common to death warp throughout Pod when you don't have a mirror. And since he only had one heart, it made it pretty easy to do so.
Yeah, I'm almost betting that one was a purposeful death warp with that one heart.
Yeah, it probably
Give
was.
yourself a refill.
If it wasn't, it was just delaying the inevitable death warp that he would do on purpose, most likely.
Pretty much. For the most part, though, if you're keeping track of logic, that lamp was down there, meaning that this is a bow-locked pod. The logic actually wanted you to come into the Dark World to get that lamp to go back to get your bow before making any further progression.
Yeah, the glove was, well, that would have been one way to do it. We did have the glove available with the flippers, so.
Or at
that
the
would have
very
been
least
awful.
to get your Eastern Palace.
Yeah. Well, we'll make Zelga's Eastern Palace a lot easier when he gets to it. I mean, ideally he'll find a mirror here, and then he could just mirror over to Eastern Palace when he's done here, but that might be a little too much to ask. And a hook shot in Pod. That's a nice find. And we don't have to the hook shot, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a hook shot on Vamos. Now,
you
there
wanna
might be
bet,
something else there, but it won't be a hookshot today.
I can almost guarantee Zelga just let out a huge sigh of relief seeing that right there as well. Another little perk to have finding the lamp when you did. Yeah, dark maze right over there. The room that Zelga didn't go in right off to the left. That is actually within logic as well and won't be that difficult. You have to kind of poke and prod your way around.
Yeah, Pod having a whole lot of dark rooms. This one would be in logic that he's in right now with the lamp or the fire rod, but they don't have that either. It just makes it a little bit easier. And getting all the way to Helmasaur without having to do the dark turtle room is probably a relief to both runners.
And lamp's one of those items that necessarily isn't needed, fire rod and other fire locks depending, but it's a wonderful, great quality of life item to have right here. Taking a few hearts of damage. Looks like Zelda's setting up for a death warp.
And 100 rupees.
Yeah, at the
See
very
if he
least,
goes.
getting a refund for entering pod.
Yeah, going for that death warp. Ninban gets his hook shot. Probably breathes a sigh of relief on his end too.
After a quick death warp, Zelda looks like heading right to the back. Should be seeing Helmasaur very short.
And nice to have this cane early, not just to hit that switch a little bit easier, but also you don't have to drag the statue in this room here that Zelda just entered.
That makes this room a whole lot nicer.
I mean, dragging that statue isn't difficult, but it sure is slow.
Just one of those things that you're sitting there doing. You're just like, come on, let's have this thing go a little bit faster. Come
Yeah.
on. Then again, I guess when Link or whichever sprite you're running with needs a glove just to pick up rocks, it doesn't surprise me it takes a while to drag that statue.
Yeah, so true.
So I believe we're just going to have a map on Helmasaur today. However, it is one of our 5-6 crystals.
True, I don't know if the Pyramid Fairy is likely to have anything since our other 5-6 crystal is Turtle Rock, but you never know.
At the very least, it'll be Zelga's first crystal. And just, kind of hold the phone on that Turtle Rock idea until we do find that ice rod.
Yeah, so true.
Alright, 17 hits to the mask. A few hammer hits and or sword slashes here. Zelga just opted to go for the sword slashes after missing a spin, and down goes Helmasaur. 27 minutes, 51 seconds on in. Crystal number 1 for Zelda out of pod.
Unfortunately, doesn't have a mirror, so he's not going to be able to go straight over to Eastern. So we'll see what he decides to do next.
Looks like he's hitting the save and quick and go back to the light world.
Yeah, maybe go to the mountain. You can get over, since you can, go ahead and do East Death Mountain, and then work your way over to Tower of Hera. Or maybe just go into Village of Outcasts. One or the other, I think. With Thieves Town being a pendant, the mountain seems like maybe the stronger play. We'll see.
Yep, heading up north. Looks like we are heading up the mountain on Zelga's side.
Yeah, I really like this choice.
Display.
Yeah, got 7 items in Paradox Cave that you can hit, plus you can do Tower of Hera. You have to get there the long way because no mirror, but Hookshot plus Hammer will get you up there the back way.
Yeah, it might be the long way, but it is the more item-dense way. Just kind of make sure you do a horseshoe around and get everything on your way up there. So. Also a good way of limiting your trips up the mountain.
Oh, well, boy. No Ice Rod hunt for us today. Because there it is.
Oh, Lord, what did I do? What did I do?
Well, we avoided the Ice Rod hunt, which is the worst item hunt this game ever has, so you did good.
At least there's 2 other items we still need before we even have to think about that Turtle Rock dungeon, and potentially the depth.
Okay, just bombs and Spectral Rock, we don't care about those. And bombs on top of Spectral Rock. So we're well beyond the point where we actually want to pick up bombs. Bombs, that funny item at the very beginning of the game, you would like to see a lot of them, and then a few minutes in, that's enough, don't need more bombs.
Zelda looks like might actually be going for the Spike Cave check. At the same time, over on Ninban's side, taking down Helmasaur quite handily. Crystal number 2 for Ninban, giving him a 2-1 advantage.
Yeah, it's pretty early for a Spike Cave check, but he's right here. Might as well get it done. You're going to save and quit back to the old man, so you've got that spot. Just 10 arrows, but that's a location he can check off his list. Ninban not saving and quitting out of Pod, so perhaps he's going to do Pyramid and or Catfish and do a North Dark World run, although there's not much he could check without the mirror at the moment. Once he gets past that Catfish.
It'll be interesting to see how far around the north end here Ninban wants to walk. Go up to Catfish and then decide to walk back and go up to Village of Outcasts, or if we're just going to skip Catfish for now. Maybe save that until we get the mirror so we can hit Catfish and Zora. Not only has the seed so far been stingy on the items, we've also been stingy on a lot of the safeties.
There's one there.
Right? Ninban at 6 hearts, Zelda only at 5, both still on green mail.
We did just find some powder, which is always a really nice safety. Get able to powder those anti-fairies. Also opens up a fetch quest item. Wow, now we're getting all the bombs. The game didn't want to give him any bombs at the beginning, and now they're all over. And just a bottle, really. Bottle and a powder at Paradox Cave. That's pretty weak.
Yeah, for the amount of checks and the lack of items they have at this point, that is a very lackluster Paradox there.
Okay, Ninban is going to go ahead and check Catfish. So he's going to completely orphan the Zelda item. But perhaps if this is something good, let's see what we got.
And survey says... Ooh.
Fire Rod. Oh, baby. That's important. That means as soon as we get some myths, and whatever the right medallion is, Ninban will probably have mountain axes very soon. We'll be able to go into Turtle Rock.
I mean, I don't want to say it, but if we find those myths soon, is it too soon to call TR being Bumba? Alright, Zelda, dip it into Tower of Hera. We do have the big key down firelocked. We found the compass sitting down in the jail room. Small key sitting right there in the atrium. We're going to get a Hera pot here instead of going down for a coffee break today.
I'm not a huge fan of this. We know that with the compass being down in that first spot, small key, there's still there's a really good chance that there's an item on the big chest that Zelda's going to leave behind or have to go back for.
Yep, it's always the risk you play, and there's
there
an
will
item
be. Yeah, there's definitely an item in the big chest.
So the Hera pot is one of those that does save you a little bit of time if you get it. Like we were saying, it runs the risk of leaving that item in that big chest without grabbing that big key.
We'll see if he decides to leave it behind. I think he may, because he probably feels quite a bit behind because of those early deaths.
Especially not being able to find much out in the back of escape right away. However, Zelda, without much hassle, taking down Moldorm here, getting the blue boomerang and crystal number 2, evening us up at 2 crystals apiece.
Ninban picking up his ice rod. One last check for Zelda up here. He is going to go ahead and do Spiral Cave. Is not going to go back for that big chest.
So at this point, it's safe to assume that Zelda's basically going to leave that item in Hera. If there's anything there that is needed or important, it is definitely going to be a last location. It's one of those decisions that you make, especially at this point in the turn. Just don't look back.
Wow, looks like Ninban also going to do Spike Cave. It's interesting. A lot of the decisions being made here between these two runners really similar. I don't know if they're just in general very similar runners, if they're just so much in each other's heads that they kind of know what the other's going to do and want to make sure that they don't skip anything that their opponent does.
It can also be sitting in both of these runners' minds that it is game 3 and we are in the round of 8. If we want to get to those semifinals, we don't really want to leave these one-offs and have something there kind of punish me and knock me out of the tournament at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one big difference in the routing so far was Ninban going to Catfish and getting that fire rod. So at this point, if Zelda could manage to find himself the mirror at some point, that'd be really good because hopefully he'd go ahead and have more reason to go into that area since he'd be able to combine Catfish with Zora.
Yeah, but with Skullwoods being a crystal, we do know that we need to get that fire rod today. Same with Turtle Rock. It's a matter of how long it takes Zelda to get right back up.
And just a piece of heart in that powder. But it is the one fetch quest item that does have other uses as opposed to, say, the mushroom or the shovel.
Giving us the other check that we missed out here on the first time through, giving the Sick Kid check. And today, just 10 arrows. So now I think at this point, the big question for Zelda is whether or not we want to full clear Green Pendant Beast Town or not.
Yeah, we're starting to run out of checks here, so there may actually be something there. I mean, that fire rod that Ninban found at the moment really only opens the back of Skull Woods, which is important because we do need to go back there for that crystal. We're just gonna need to look for that next progression item.
Looks like Zelda's actually deciding to go to the front of Skullwoods here first. A lot of runners you'll see now actually routing in the front of Skullwoods, kind of a little bit of overworld checks, just in case that fire rod is actually hiding out here in the.
Yeah, there could be something here. I'm not a huge fan of the quote-unquote Skullwoods as overworld, just because you also have the possibility of a lot of different dungeon items. Skullwoods has something like 3 small keys that you can find. People often say that about the front of Thieves Town as well. It's a little more valid, in my opinion, to say that about Thieves Town, just because you get 4 items in the front of Thieves. It's pretty rare that you have a 4 dungeon item front of Thieves Town. It does happen, but usually at least find 1 other item.
Looks like Ninban also setting up the Hera pot here.
Okay, so it looks like they're both going to go ahead and orphan that big key and that big chest. I also like what Zelda did, going ahead and stealing the small key, unfortunately taking another death at a very bad spot. What he did do, though, is he stole the key from the middle of Skullwoods, and since we no longer have the guaranteed small key in the pinball room, it is possible to get stuck down there if you fall down into the dungeon instead of entering it from the front. Oh wait, looks like Ninban did decide to go ahead and do the coffee break and is going to get that big key.
Yep, failed the Hera pot twice, decided it's about enough time lost there. Let's just go down, let's grab the big key and do this out of. Ooh, well, I guess we'll have to try it again. That's no good. The mini Moldorm playing good. A little gatekeeper there on him, knocking out that one.
Of course, ironically, I like the parapod better when you have the big key than when you don't, unless you're in full-on go mode and you don't care about the items, simply because of the fact that you don't leave that extra item orphaned. And it looks like he's going for the Herapod again. And Zelda going to go ahead and go back into Skullwoods. And like you said, we are not getting a whole lot of container hearts. Still, 40 minutes in, 41 minutes in, still on 6 hearts and green mail.
Third try on the Herapot for Ninban does get it. So it looks like Ninban will also be leaving that big key down in the bottom. Does make sense for him to try it again after dying down the bottom. Don't really want to waste that time and go for a coffee break twice in one sitting here. Zelda, meanwhile, finding the big key to Skullwoods. Gives us one more check over here in the big chest.
Another small key. Like I said, Skullwoods full of keys. And there's another one.
Full of keys with 2 items in it. Over on the left-hand side of your screen, however, Ninban taking down Moldorm. That's crystal number 3 for Ninban. Now holding a 3-2 crystal advantage.
So 1 item in the front of Skull was just the fire shield.
Means that we have 1 item hiding in the back, either on Mothula or in the chest in the entry room.
Okay, Zelda not gonna save and quit, so probably gonna check Village of Outcasts, perhaps? It looks like that is where he's headed.
Yep, head down to Village of Outcasts, knock out your overworld checks here. And then, of course, like we've been saying, the next big question becomes, what do you do with that Thieves Town pen?
Okay, that's an Ether Medallion that could also be our entry into Turtle Rock. Okay, went ahead and opened it. Isn't going to quite go in yet. Meanwhile, Ninban gonna check his powder. And we get a shovel over on Zelga's side.
And we'll see if that shovel fetch quest will end up leading to something kind of a little bit of an out-of-the-way check, unless you find the mirror somewhere around here. Nothing in the chest game. Ninban also getting the bad news from the magic bat that's a whole lot of nothing today as well. And Zelda is diving into the front of Thieves.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. We're starting to run out of locations here. Four chests in the front of Thieves Town. So it could literally be 4 dungeon items. We know the big key has to be here, and he's already found a map. But those four dungeon item front Thieves Towns are pretty rare. He should get something out of this. Well, then he'll have to decide whether he wants to go on. Of course, as I say that, he's now gotten a map and a compass, so he's only got one more shot at an item.
We got a big key coming up, and then the potential at either a useful non-dungeon item or a small key. Check number 3, it's just 10 arrows.
Okay, so we did get an item in the front. We'll get the big key here. And let's see, is he gonna walk out? Is he gonna death warp, or is he gonna keep on going? Looks like he's gonna keep on going.
We're going to the back.
Now, this is my least favorite pendant dungeon for a reason, but there aren't too many places left. He obviously needs to at some point go to Catfish. Could go to Zora. I don't believe either one has checked the dig game or Stumpy, because they went to pretty much just did their hype cave check. So we're starting to run out of locations here anyway. So a little more likely there's going to be something back here, and since there's 3 items back here, it makes sense to keep on going.
Definitely. You can actually almost count it as 4 as well if you want to go the full way for that green pendant. It's just something that makes that Thieves Town play not hurt as much, I suppose.
Yeah, in Zelga's case, he's got to go back over to Eastern anyway, so he's going to be in that area to turn in that green pendant, whereas Ninban is otherwise completely done with that area. So maybe a little less enticing for him, but he's going to have that same decision to make in just a second. And so far, just rupees.
2 items found, a whole lot of nothing so far. Like you were saying, the big question is going to be here with Ninban, whether or not he decides to head off to the back after only finding 1 item in the front. Like I said, already cleared out. Eastern Palace doesn't really have too much of a reason to head back over there for that one-off.
Okay, let's see. Be nice if this were the item. Don't have to go into the big chest. The small key cannot be in the the small key cannot be on blind, and so it looks like it is in the big chest, locking itself in the door in that room.
Yeah, technically meaning it is a hammerlock dungeon, but really doesn't mean a whole lot for us today since we got the hammer fairly early. Looks like Zelda has a quick date coming up with Blind, a very unique boss fight in the game. 3 phases, 3 hits per phase. Doesn't matter what item you use, what sword you use. And if you do it right, you can essentially script this fight to be the same every single time you're in here. Looks like so far that's what Zelda has done here through the first 2 phases. 3rd phase is kind of where it can get a little hairy, but no sweat. Perfectly scripted fight for Zelda. Takes out Blind without...
Well, it's a good thing he did that for those mitts. So the good news is he got mitts. The bad news is it's going to take him further away from going and checking that catfish and getting that fire rod. Because now we have a lot more open.
So no sweat there on the Blind fight. for Zelda. Getting some French vanilla mitts and the green pendant. So we're taking those mitts over here to do hammer pegs. Starting off, might do the Smith chain, maybe take the Smith on a world tour. Good thing about that, we might maybe see him take it over to Catfish. I don't.
Yeah, can't go into Eastern with the Smith, so would be overworld checks. Just a piece of heart there over at Hammer Pegs. And Ninban's gonna be very happy that he also made the decision to keep on going.
Those mitts gives us access to a few of the other kind of unfriendly dungeons as well at this point. One kind of notwithstanding depending on what the key is out front, but does mean we do have some early quote-unquote Turtle Rock access. Or a 66% chance of being able to, I should say.
So if we look at what we need for go mode, at this point, the Turtle Rock Medallion requirement outstanding, and we really need Mirror. That's the main thing we need. We might need boots. We have no entry into Desert yet. We might need the book for that, although we are going to get the Mirror at some point, since we do need to do Swamp Palace. So Mirror for sure, possibly boots, possibly that Quake Medallion.
Yep, and then either a book or a flute. Ninban
Right.
getting a little off script there. And decides to whip out the blue cane. Makes quick work then. That last phase kind of being a little safe. And grabs the mitts as well as the green pen.
Right, that's a good point. That flute would be needed to, if we were to use a mirror to get in the desert. Do need the flute to get up there. So mirror, desert access by either the book or the flute, and possibly the boots if desert is boots locked.
And then, of course, the also ever-present question after that, depending on what we have sitting where in Ganon's town.
Yeah, that's right. At 1 in 22 chance of having that key on the torch. If we don't need boots for the desert. And just 20 rupees there from Sarasala on the green pendant turn-in.
So green pendant itself not quite paying off, but Thieves Town still paying off quite large with those mitts. And being in the area, Zelga's gonna route this right on over into Eastern Palette.
And Ninban looks like he's going to go ahead and do Skull Woods. He will be able to full clear this.
We'll be able to full clear Skull Woods. It's kind of interesting to see what that last item that we have is, kind of hiding out in the back.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he just doesn't go to the back first. We know that there's an item here, but if you can go to the back and get all your items without ever having to come to the front, it is a bit of a time save.
Granted, we're only at 7 hearts green mail, but I almost bet that the fact that we don't have the mirror yet is kind of playing a little bit of a part in that decision.
Very possibly.
Looks like he's gonna take a ride on the Wallmaster Express to get out of Bumper Room and exit out this side of Skull. I would imagine now we'll see Ninban go right off to the back. And still playing fairly thorough, grabbing that other chest on the way here. This whole time kind of gives you a little bit of a look into both of these runners' minds with the thorough amount of checks that they've been making, those little bit of one-offs, and being sure not to really orphan too much at once. Just to make sure that if there's an item there, it doesn't end up being the one that buries them. Unfortunately, right now, Zelda hasn't went up to Catfish yet, where Ninban has. Zelda's still missing out on that fire rod.
And Zelda, as long as we haven't seen that mirror, Zelda's still very much in this race. Definitely at a disadvantage without that fire rod, but we don't know where that mirror is going to turn up.
Yep, that will be the big question when, or well, I'm not going to say if, but when that mirror does decide to show up and who's the first one to find.
And of course, that's not, as we said earlier, not the only piece of the puzzle, since we do need desert access, either with the fruit plus the mirror or a book.
Alright, Ninban dropping down into very pointy Mothula fight. Having a few issues bouncing off some of the spikes, but has that red potion to fill right up. A few more hammer hits, and down goes Mothula, grabbing a compass. It means we got one more item right there in the back in the chest, but more importantly, that is crystal number 4 for Ninban. Momentarily 2-4 crystal advantage here.
Yeah, so we'll get to 3 in just a second, but yeah, still going to have a bit of an advantage there.
Zelda getting the setup for the quick kill nicely and executes it perfectly. Down goes the Armos Knights for Zelda. That is crystal number 3. We're now at 3 crystals to 4.
Okay, let's see where these guys go next. I wouldn't be surprised to see if one of them goes up to the Dark Death Mountain. Looks like Ninban already selecting the mountain cave, so may just go ahead and go there right now. Might even go ahead and do Turtle Rock if it's not Quake.
Yep, Ninban potentially does have the ability to get into Turtle Rock, and if he can get into it, has enough items to full clear. And of course, that would open up the Pyramid Fairy, since that is our other 5-6 crystal today.
Interesting, Zelda buying a red potion there.
Still a little bit shallow on hearts. May as well grab that for safety.
He's doing. Yep. This is really unfortunate. I mean, if Mirror's here, then oh my god. But that's about the only thing, or you know, if the book for desert or boots or some such thing. But doing ice at this point, we know where the fire rod is. It's not going to be in here. Certainly, I don't blame him for doing this. It's not uncommon to see bombos in your inventory specifically to lead you to Ice Palace to get that fire rod.
Yeah, it seems to happen all too often that Bombos is your access into Ice Palace, locking yourself another fire source. Meanwhile, over in Super Bunny, Ninban finding a mushroom. So we do have another fetch quest open over there. And down into Hookshot Cave, Ninban goes. We got boots.
There's some boots. Okay, so no longer having to worry about that desert being boots locked, at least. Oh, and there's a book.
There it is, desert access.
Yep. And there's a Quake. So no matter what, Turtle Rock is now accessible. Could be key under the doormat style. We shall see in just a second. He's not going to be able to open it right now since he did come up through the dark world. And I did not see what that was.
Probably figure it makes no sense to check it because he does have all the medallions, so why are we going over it?
I guess he doesn't want to go there now, so yeah, looks like he's gonna go ahead and do desert, I'm guessing. Still does not have access to Swamp Palace, so not going there. But yeah, as our wonderful tracker Reg says in chat, this is really bad for Zelda unless we find Mirror in here in Ice Palace. Or unless the other unless, of course, is if the mirror is buried so deep that Ninban eventually hits Ice Palace as well.
Yep, or it could simply be a case that it's sitting on one of our fetch quest items at this point. We do not know yet.
So I see the question in chat about why didn't Ninban go into TR. Because he came up through the Dark World and not in the Light World, didn't have a mirror, he would have had to save and quit back to the Old Man cave and come back and do it then. So better just leave it till you have to do it, or preferably to when it's your only one left, and then go straight to GT.
It's all about minimizing those climbs up the mountain. I believe it's around approximately 3 minutes, give or take, each climb. So definitely something you don't want to double up on. Small key sitting on the torch, but of course doesn't really matter because we got all of our items that we would need for desert all in the same spot. You know, Zelda's still kind of trudging through IP here, hasn't found anything of note quite yet.
A mirror shield on Ninban's side. I'm sure he's real happy to get that. Runners generally don't prefer to have that third shield.
It's a little bit larger, takes a little bit more pixels than the other shields. It takes a little longer, I should say, for the game to render it. Kind of maybe causes a little bit of lag. You know, it depends on who you ask how much they notice.
And bombs in the big chest, so no items for us in Desert Palace that we really want. Certainly nothing we need. Well, Zelda at least gets a tempered sword out of his trip here.
Tempered, a full heart container, and I believe there's one other item. We're gonna save and quit right on out of there. So a whole lot of nothing looking like an IP.
I mean, that tempered sword is nice, but not at all what he's looking for. And he's going to go up the mountain and see what's going on here. Even less likely that he'll go into TR, given that he doesn't have the fire rod.
At the very least, those Zelda will be getting their boots as well as their desert access up. And I'll be finishing out all of our medallions.
Unfortunately, once again, taking him even further away from that catfish check. And he's going to go ahead and route this through the light world, so he will be able to open the dungeon, depending on what it is. Looks like no one got a good look at what the actual medallion was, so we'll see in just a second.
And over on Ninban's side, a quick 2-cycle there. Down goes Lan Molas for their 5th crystal of the evening. 5 crystals, 2-3 advantage. Zelda, however, giving us a look at that medallion. It is actually...
You know, I think that's actually kind of good news, because that's going to be a very strong indicator that he shouldn't go ahead and dip it, even though he is going to find that quick medallion. Without the mirror, like we said earlier, it just would take too long to come back up here.
Definitely. It's more than likely a blessing in disguise here for Zelda. We'll kind of push him farther away from Turtle Rock. There is one chest in there the fire rod could be hiding in. Sometimes it's in there, not all the time though. It's just good that it's pushing Zelda away.
Yeah,
from
and actually even worse than that, you could if you get enough small keys, you can actually get all the way down to Laser Bridge. It doesn't happen very often. I think I've only seen it happen once. But that would be quite a big waste. Oh, and that's right. We did have a mushroom in here, so we'll see if Zelda decides to turn that in. That might... No, without the mirror, it doesn't make a difference. I'm thinking maybe it gets him over to that catfish area, but that would be in the light world. He needs to be in the dark world.
Yeah, unfortunately, having already checked Pyramid Ledge, Catfish is kind of orphaned for Zelda at this point. It does look like we will be taking those boots and book right on over to Desert, however. We'll get crystal number 4 for Zelda. Unfortunately, there is no items that's hiding out over here for us to...
Yeah, he'll get his big shield too and some bombs, and not gonna do much for him. So the big question is, where is that mirror?
You know, neither of our runners have checked Zora himself yet at this point.
Nope, we have not seen Zora. That could be our mirror.
That could be where Ninban is heading, doing the mushroom turn-in on the wall. We also do have boots now as well, which means we could almost see a lumberjack check if we're not seeing an item. Mushroom turn-in, however, today is just 20.
Yeah, that actually is a really interesting point. We have not seen the lumberjack. This could be... I mean, just imagine if you find your go mode item on the lumberjack an hour into the race.
I think that would be an oof. Ninban,
Sure
however, not having enough money for Zora yet at this point. Looks like we're going over to the dig spot first.
Oh, that's true. We have that other fetch quest. And we'll see, maybe he checks the Bombos tablet while he's at it. And just bombs. So we are 0 for 3 on fetch quests.
So a little bit of buried explosives, and the quest continues. I can almost guarantee Ninban might be picking up that heart container over here in the library ledge, saying this is enough of this 7 heart green mail stuff. Or maybe not.
Nope. He doesn't need it.
That right there is why these runners are at the in the round of 8 here at this point, because I know
That's
I personally would be going for that heart container.
So would I. Okay, Zelda finding both his items, he'll just head back to the back of desert. This may be a Smith chain play on Ninban's side.
That's entirely possible. Another set of checks that we have not seen yet, and I don't even think Ninban's been over to Hammer Pegs yet.
No, I believe that's correct. And the Smith chain being super awkward without a mirror.
Bit of an undead chicken kind of getting in the way and getting tossed by Ninban. So just a few quick torch lights away from their Lamos fight. Ninban heading on over to the big game first. We'll see if it decides to go over to Stumpy or up to our Smith chain next.
Looks like we're going to see some ice strats on Zelga's side. The ice rod being a little bit slower than the fire rod, so a lot of runners who are used to doing this with the fire rod. It's a little bit more difficult. Gonna switch over to the tempered sword. That won't take much longer.
And just like that, getting it down 3 cycle for Zelga's side. That is crystal number 4. That's bringing us a little bit closer here now. We are 4 crystals to 3 for Ninban. That ice rod is a little slower, still does the same damage as the fire rod, just moves a little slower.
Looks like Ninban didn't do any of the rest of the Smith's chain. Let's see where he heads next. We are going to get an Agina check over on Zelga's side. I don't recall if Ninban went here or not. And Ninban heading back up the mountain, perhaps going to go ahead and do Turtle Rock now. Makes sense. It's the one crystal dungeon he can clear.
A decent slathering of items up in Turtle Rock as well. Zelda did give us a look into Agina's cave, finding the 50 rupees. Ninban did check it a little bit earlier, so they've already crossed that off their list.
So the question about TR without a mirror, mirror has nothing to do with TR. The only thing they can't do is they cannot do the Mimic Cave. So obviously that's not in logic since you need a mirror for that, but he can do the rest of it.
Yeah, but it is another climb up the mountain, unfortunately, at this point. However, as you were saying, it is a fully completable crystal dungeon. You're kind of at the point where let's go ahead and just kind of complete what we can, and hopefully I'll come across the item, or it gives me a little bit of time to think of what to do next.
And given that the item that Ninban's missing is the mirror, he doesn't care that he's going to have to skip that Mimic Cave.
I think I know.
Oh, we're going to do the check. We're going to do the lumberjack check.
If this turns out to be the mirror, this could be what Zelda needs.
Just a heart container.
So no mirror on lumberjack, so we won't be seeing Ego 1 today.
I can't say I'm sad about that.
It would have definitely been interesting to see, though. And how often do you get the hour and 20-minute into the seed Ego?
Not very often, and this is the exact situation where you would see it. Okay, Zelda heading into the Dark World. Let's see if he goes down to the Smith Chain area or if he goes over to the Catfish area. Or he could put it kind of together. He might pick up the Smith and run over to the Catfish area. It's kind of opposite ends of the world, but...
Yeah, I think the question for Zelda at this point is, do we want to check Stumpy, or do we want to check...
I want to say he checked Stumpy already.
And while we're looking over at Zelda over there, Ninban found our mirror hiding out in Turtle Rock.
That puts Ninban in go mode. A little bit, about 11, 10.
Yeah, let's just say 11, 11, 11. We have Ninban
just have a little bit of fun.
in go mode. Why not? So with Ninban in go mode, that means we'll have a go mode swamp coming up. I can almost guarantee. I'm not sure if Ninban's found that big key yet or not, but once we do find that big key, he's stealing a key and moving right onto the back.
He is going to have to go back and do Swamp Palace.
Yeah, but being a go mode Swamp Palace, we can dive in, grab our key, get to the back, and knock out himself, and then make another quick climb up the...
That's right. Oh, the Argus on Argus fight again. And I love the bunny sprite. It's the best. The Argus sprite is just so much fun between the death animation of the heart and the crystal and the Argus puff on the bunny sprite.
Definitely not enough credit is given to the sprite developers here for A Link to the Past Randomizer. They put in a lot of great work, giving us a lot of high quality sprites. And then making his way through Turtle Rock. Zelda, meanwhile, got a few other checks that we have to do.
Yeah, looks like he's heading over to towards the purple chest.
Unfortunately, not the direction Zelda needs to go. It does need to get on up to Catfish as soon as possible. We're going to be saving and quitting, it looks like, once we grab Also going to be kind of interesting to note, however, at this point, Ninban is in go mode, but does have 9 hearts, green mail, master sword, no silver.
At least he has half magic.
There you go. There's a little bit of a silver lining, I guess.
He's got half magic. He's got powder for the anti-fairies. I mean, what more do you need?
a little bit more breathing room for that Ganon fight, maybe?
Yeah. He might get a sword. I mean, there's still one more outstanding.
Yeah.
He's not going to get the one that Zelga's running around with because that was in the Ice Palace. Ninban is not going to go into Ice Palace.
Yeah, there are 22 checks in the bottom of Ganon's tower, another numbered checks on the way up. If Ninban doesn't pick up any of those aforementioned items, I can almost guarantee we might see him checking a few of those on the way up. Just because, of course, if you're still on Master Sword, those silvers would be a welcome addition.
Oh, for sure. Zelda doing the mushroom turn-in. Looks like he may be heading over to Zora. The wrong fish, unfortunately.
Going into the right area, just not the right world at this point.
So inconvenient the developers of this game did not put a Dark World access around here.
It would have just been too easy if there was another black rock that you needed to pick up there. Get right back over into the dark. So Zelda's making his way up to Zora, giving us our 1 hour and 16-minute Zora check. Ninban, however, is on Trinex, giving us some hammer strats over here.
And just 10 arrows from Zora. Trying to think what he has left other than dipping Turtle Rock or going into Catfish at this point. Actually, we haven't seen the tablets yet, even though they do have the book, so he might be going to that now.
We could go up the mountain to get that tablet. We won't be able to check Bombos without that mirror. Is going back into the Dark World, though, it looks like. Alright, Ninban on to phase 3. Got the double hit with the spin-off. Pulling out the hammer to do a little bit more damage to the midsection of Trinex, and down Trinex goes. That is crystal number 6 for Ninban. 1 crystal and dungeon is all that separates Ninban from a Ganon's Tower climb at this point. And look at where Zelda's finally going.
Unfortunately, this is going to be too little too late. There's just... when you're playing runners of this caliber, you're just not going to see enough mistakes from Ninban's side for him to catch up. It's unfortunate with, you know, they route so similar, these two. It's just the one big difference here being this Catfish location.
Yep, just that decision by Ninban to head on up to Catfish after checking Pyramid Ledge. Just get that off the way before going to Pod, where Zelda went right over to Pod after checking on that Pyramid Ledge. Here we go, Zelda tossing the bush in. Catfish gonna hop around a little bit. And there is the fire rod for Zelda.
And to answer the question about silvers, no, silvers unfortunately not enough if Zelda were to find them. Silvers would save a little bit of time in the Ganon fight, but it's not like Ninban's gonna fail the fight. Certainly a Master Sword silverless is not a fun Ganon fight, but if you're in the round of 8, it's a skill you have to have. There's no way anyone left in this tournament can't do that fight.
Yeah, definitely. It's just one of the more nerve-wracking fights to do, especially being
for sure.
on green mail. There's a lot of Master Sword spins they need to do, and they need to be spins. You can't just slash with the Master Sword. As Ninban heading on into Swamp Palace, their last crystal dungeon of the evening.
Yeah, we'll see how confident he's feeling. Yeah, we'll see how confident he's feeling about this Master Sword situation based on the number of chests he checks here. Like I said, he certainly is going to be able to do it. There's no question about that. But you know, if you can avoid it, That's always a good thing. Swamp Palace being notorious for having swords in it. So he might be able to find one here. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere out of his way to get one.
Now, as you're saying, round of 8, at this point, I can almost guarantee you we're not going out of our way to finding it. He's just going to be grabbing the chests on his way.
Yep,
Once
exactly.
we're checking in Ganon's tower. Maybe not grab any on the way up. But it's the round of 8, like you're saying. It's definitely a skill that both of these runners have at this point. Zelda was pretty close there to being grabbed by the Wall Master on the drop down. However, makes quick work of the Mothula fight. Down it goes. And there's another crystal for Zelda. That's Zelda's 5th crystal of the evening, putting up at 5 to 6.
Yeah, hopefully he heads over to Turtle Rock now.
Yep, send all of your thoughts over to Zelda after checking this last item in here to go right over to Turtle Rock and make a beeline for it.
And the one super on the way chest. Yeah, the one super on the way chest for Ninban in Swamp Palace, of course, is just a map.
Of course. Zelda picking up their half magic, going to be a welcome addition. Not something you'd hunt around for, but if you get it on your way, it's one of the nice quality of life items. It's always fun to have. You can be a little bit more careless with that fire rod. Here we go, Ninban, the date of with his bigger self.
Yeah, and I like the strat he's using, grabbing 2 puffs, just getting the spin ready, grabbing the 2 puffs, and then letting that spin go and be able to kill both of them at the same time. That's not an easy thing to do.
It's a strat that is a lot harder than Ninban's making it look by all stretch of imaginations.
It looks like Zelda is going to go ahead right away and do that Turtle Rock play.
And definitely the thing Zelda needs to do. And, ooh!
Oof.
That is unfortunate. That is one of the main reasons you never want to stand to the top of Argus. When Argus is going up the screen, it can hit.
So that'll give Zelda a little bit of a chance to catch up a little bit. It's not going to really be enough. He is going to check this ether tablet while he's at it.
Since on the way, may as well check it over here. Just getting us 10 arrows for the day. Yeah, that's something there on Ninban's side that definitely is always handy to kind of keep in mind. Even though it looks like her is kind of trying to fool you with 3D physics or looks, in the game there's actually only 2 dimensions. Ninban taking the other way down, going past 2 more chests. We'll be checking those on the way. Just getting a whole lot of rupees. And don't need those at this point. Once again, not the items that Ninban probably kind of hoping for in those chests. And everything that we have seen so far in this seed as well, and have not seen anything for another male upgrade.
No mail. Still missing a sword. No second bow for silver arrows. Didn't find a flute, which is a good thing in a seed where Mire is a pendant. So no one had any reason to dip Misery Mire, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but if nothing else, it just kept him out of Misery Mire.
Exactly.
Oh, nerves might be getting a little bit of Ninban there at that point, missing the first couple of double grabs with the hook shot. Looks like we're back on track here. Gonna have to be a little bit more careful here, though. We're down to 4 hearts already. Just going for some spins as well, and there you have it over on Zelga's side. 1 hour, 23 minutes, 16 seconds. Zelda picks up their mirror. That is Zelga's go mode. the same time, down goes the bigger version of himself for Ninban. That is crystal number 7. And you know what time that means it is?
Yeah, sure do. I see a whole lot of numbers out there in chat. So there are 22 locations in the Ganon's Tower basement, 21 chests as well as the torch item. One of them is going to be the big key for Ganon's Tower. If you have not already, go ahead and put that guess in chat.
Yep, get your numbers in, because once Ninban does enter Ganon's Tower, we'll be closing the guesses for the evening. Going off Ninban's routing. Where are you feeling our key is sitting at here tonight, Trace?
I'll stick with my standard number 5.
Not bad, not bad.
11.5 plus or minus 10.5. I like creative numbers. Just don't expect to win with them.
Just don't expect the bot to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, if you get it right because you wrote a number in a creative way, although that one is
that one does
chances.
kind of.
That one's got 2. You're kind of hedging your bets there on that one.
You're kind of encompassing just about all of them right there. That is kind of a smart way to maybe fool the system.
Maybe.
If only.
And to MG Weirdo, if you want to steal my number, you go right ahead and steal my number. I do not have any kind of patent on that number.
Zelda making quick work of Turtle Rock over here. Ninban just about to do the dance of the crystals that somehow opens up this column and drops down a staircase. While that is happening on, I'll just go ahead and put it out there that I'm going to stick with my usual number this evening, number 14 for our big key. Let's see where this pays off. A few more moments to get your guesses in chat here.
Okay, starting on the left side. And torch with just 300 rupees. We're going to ignore that.
I'm more curious how that much money is got up on the torch in the first place.
I'm curious how anything gets up on those torches.
That is a valid point.
Okay, in the Stealthos room we have number 2, a cart container, and number 3, the big key. So that was a very quick big key game. Good news and bad news. The good news is we got the big key very quickly. The bad news is there wasn't enough time to see if there were any more safeties. That heart container does help, giving Ninban now 11 hearts, but still on green mail. Still no silver arrows, still on Master Sword.
Kind of maybe one of those double-edged swords. Maybe Ninban was hoping that'd be a little bit deeper and would lead him towards a few more safeties, another sword, or maybe the silvers. Or at the same time, it's an early big key, so it just kind of gets it out of the way. I'll go ahead and say here, looks like Orange the Yordle is the winner of our Ganon's Tower big key guessing game today. The first one to get 3 in the chat. We also have 2 other runners-up. John Flip, Zuza, D2Skew also guessed correctly, getting themselves 5 bonus points. Ninban making their way through the front of the upper rooms here. Zelda onto Trinex. One cycling down the first 2 heads. A little bit easier there with that tempered sword. Won't have to bother with the hammer. Double hit spin and another strike. That is a perfect 3rd head for Zelda. Down goes Trinex Crystal, number 6 for Zelda. One more to go.
And you'll see Ninban does decide to take the safety room. The interesting thing to note about this particular room that Ninban just went in, it is the biggest reason why, I don't know if this is the biggest reason why it is in logic to do bonks, but it is the way you can tell the game intended bonks, because there's no other way that I know of to get over there. I guess you can bomb jump, but I have a feeling that bonks would be a little more intended than bomb jumping. And definitely, I like that he does decide to go do that. Just with this low heart count, the little bit extra time for just a little bit extra safety. right before the gauntlet. It's, I think, pretty smart.
Yeah, fill them hearts up. This is the last place if you want to take a death anywhere here in the top of Ganon's Tower. It's just so many rooms that you'd have to re-clear and go back through. Mind you, even though we're still on green mail, these rooms full of ice and knights and treadmills and Beamos are not nearly as easy as Ninban's making it look here. She's going to take the refill there before Lanmo 2. Missing out on the first cycle. Looks like we're getting it right here on the... Oh, missing the second cycle too. Running out of magic as well.
I want to say he's got a green bottle.
Yep, I believe the first one we picked up was a green bottle.
It looks like he has a blue in his inventory.
Blue one. Yep.
This is going to be really tight on magic at this point.
It does have at least one blue bottle, so we should have enough for refills going on. Into a few of the most satisfying rooms in the game. Throw down a block, hit the splash, take out a whole bunch of wizard robes in one fell swoop. Definitely a little bit of a trick I wish I would have known back in the 90s as a kid running through those rooms.
No kidding. I mean, the thing I used Mario for is those rooms with the hidden floors. You push a block, and if it fell down, you knew the floor was gone. So, very slow way to do that, though. And does have just enough magic to get through. Probably gonna grab this magic decanter here, so he can do the next room. Is waiting out the jingle, so he doesn't despawn these sprites up here, going up, and have to start over again.
Yeah, that'd be another one of those unfortunate things that have happened to you this high up in the climb. Another chest for a piece of heart, and just some bombs. 2 chests left on Ninban's way to the top. Potentially be holding safety or a sword or silvers or something. Maybe to make this a little nicer at this point.
Got one more shot at it.
The item you're looking for is not in this chest. Move along.
Oh, jeez. Okay, takes a fall to Moldorm. Not the end of the world. He should be fine. Probably going to make him feel a little bit more nervous. Just because at this point, he doesn't know that Zelda's last location, that fire rod, as badly as he did.
Definitely. You're at this point in the round of 8, you're assuming that you're always behind. It's definitely something that's also common in 1v1 races. It's just to kind of feel like you're behind. Even if you think you ran a god route, you still feel like you're behind at most points.
Okay. A blue potion is nice. He's got 3 of them now, I guess.
Not what you wanted, but you don't think you're gonna complain.
Nope, I could think of a lot worse things to pick up at that point. But we are going to see a Master Sword Silverless fight here, and those, you know, when you get someone that really knows what they're doing on that Silverless part, it is actually, I think, pretty cool to watch.
It can get hairy, but it's definitely something that is a sight to behold when they do execute it fairly well. Over on Zelga's side, however, already onto Argus, and down it goes. That is crystal number 7 for Zelga. Got a Ganon's Tower climb up the mountain. Yet remaining here on Zelga's side, crystal number 7. And Ninban taking out Ega 2 at the very same time. Quick flight on Albatross Air, somehow summoning the bird that is still frozen in Kakariko when we don't even have
no
the
flute.
just somehow decides to show up and unfreeze itself and drop us off with a date with the big pig. Setting up some block spin strats, very nice.
Yeah, basically what that does is usually you're going to bounce off again when you do those spins, and that'll just keep him steady.
Oof, but here we go with that green mail as we were talking about this whole time. Ganon hurt.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's coming in with more hearts now than he was coming in earlier. So the fact that it happened as early as it did, I don't think is not too big a deal. Might be a little bit of nerves coming into play as well here.
Yeah, at this point, Ninban is, you know, fighting against his nerves, taking that death on Ganon's never gonna feel nice. Just every step along the way, just every little mistake like that never feels good, especially at this point, Game 3 in the round of 8 in this tournament.
Yeah, and we were talking about safeties earlier. Another safety that they did not get was that cape. The blue cane doesn't help you here. Can't do sword spins when you have the blue cane with blue cane.
Trying to use the bounces off of Ganon to move him out of the way of the bat. Looks like we're going to use a blue potion and heal ourselves right on up, just kind of avoid taking that next hug. And Zelda finally entering Ganon's tower, but heading off to the right side, unfortunately.
Yeah, typically he's done this where he's gone to the right side first, just done the hope room, and then gone ahead and left, and gone back to the... Oh, he's going to go all the way. Not all the way, he's going to go all the way to the compass room, it looks like.
Not a bad play by any stretch of the imagination, just unfortunately with where we know that the key's at, it just isn't the right one.
Yeah, it's a pretty common... Yeah, it's a pretty common play if you get a small key in that first room to go ahead and keep going at least to the compass room.
Yep, one of the more standard routes kind of developing. Like I said, by no means is it a bad play, it's just with where we know and have the knowledge we have.
Oh, and the arrows are in Ganon's tower somewhere. They're in the basement because we did not see him on the climb up. And there's a gold sword for Zelda.
Butter. Yeah, butter sword though at this point just a little bit too little, too late. It probably won't make up enough unless Ninban has a few more falls or deaths here.
He'd have to have way more falls. Yeah, he's doing. Yeah, so far this part of the fight is going really well, I'd say. And I think he still has 2 more bottles.
Missing the shot there. And as far as Master Sword Silverless spins go here in this final phase, well, getting those triples is probably about as good as you can ask for. Zelda finally finding the key there is gonna mirror and head right on. And the Ganon fight drags on. For the Sword of Evil's Bane, it sure doesn't like to do that much damage to Evil.
And it's not Evil's Bane until we temper it and put gold on it. Although, how a actual gold sword is actually going to be usable, that I can't quite figure out.
We'll just say it's glowing gold. It's not actually made of gold.
That works.
It's infused with the power of the Elders. Just don't ask how the Pyramid Fairy got that.
And down goes Ganon for Ninban.
So there we go after a countless number of spins. All that is separating Ninban from moving on to the semifinals is a 1x3 bridge. And there it is, folks. Get your GGs in chat. Ninban taking Game 3 and the series. Finishing this up here with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 25 seconds. We are now joined by Ninban. GGs.
Yeah, congratulations in the semifinals.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah. First of all, how'd you feel about not finding the hook shot on Bombo's tablet? I don't know which one of you submitted the time, but I was very amused with the comment there.
Yeah, the first race, the guy got screwed by the hookshot on Bombo's tablet, and on the second race, I got screwed by that. So we were hoping for. So I wish we have a rematch with a seed with hookshot on Bombo's tablet. Just kidding.
I mean, it definitely had to be a huge sigh of relief, though, when he found it sitting there in pod, not having to go through all those hoops to find it one more time.
Yes. It was like, oh my god, the hook shot early in the seed. Finally.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't know how much discussion you guys have all had, but this time it was the fire rod that got Zelga.
Yes, I know that. He told me. But yeah, catfish is. Catfish is screws a lot of people. So, yeah.
It does. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because your routing just in general just seems really similar. I don't know if that's just in general that you route the same or if you just know each other well enough that you're trying to mitigate what the other's doing. And that was just the one major difference, was you going to catfish and him not.
Yes, I don't know if Zelga studied me before his matches, but I studied Zelga before these matches. So I didn't base my catfish decision on what I think he would be doing. I just generally like to go catfish after doing pod.
Yeah, get that one out of the way check, and since the mirror was so late, couldn't pair it up with Zora. That both of you got over there without enough money to check the first time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zelga picking up that blue goo. So, so that Master Sword Silverless. Were there a little bit of nerves going in there with? I mean, it was a tough one with green mail.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I practiced it maybe 2 months ago when the tournament started, and I was very bad at Master Sword Ganon. Maybe I need to practice more because I totally forgot what I should do in phase 1, and that's why I died on the first time. And I remembered for the second time, so that's why I lived.
Well, the last round where the Silverless part looked really good.
Oh yeah, the Silverless part is the easiest part, in my opinion. But it's the same as with Tempered Sword, you just
longer.
do it more. So yeah, it's not that bad.
We'll get to see a less hard fight, Zelga having the gold sword. He dipped Ice Palace and got one of his swords, and the other one was in the compass room of GT, so...
Yeah.
So I suppose different GT big key routing could have gotten you that one of those swords, but I don't think you were ever touching Ice Palace.
No, I wasn't touching Ice Palace. So neither of us found any mail, which is funny.
Yeah, the whole seed has been low hearts, kind of low offense. Did give you a mirror shield for whatever reason, but no green mail, so everything wants to.
It's especially unfortunate with the Argus spray. I love the way the colors change on that one.
Yeah, I like it too. Also, like when I die, why didn't I get a crystal? I mean, Argus was killed.
That's right.
Argus was dead.
Yeah, you could just skip swamp that way, right?
Can we just like program that in the game for when you choose Argus as a sprite or a coaster?
I think if anything, maybe you should lose a crystal because technically you're dying and dropping one.
Oh right.
There's that. We'll get the racing council to make a ruling on, ASAP.
All right, I try to use my influence with the Shadow Council to influence the decision in my way.
One or the other. Over on Zelga's side, we are on to phase 4 already. A big difference there between the Master Sword and the Gold Sword. Should be a few quick spins away here for Zelga. One or two more if my count is correct. And
So,
of course it isn't.
There are folks on Speak Gaming Français that want me for an interview, so I'm just going to say quick words with Zelga and then tip out. Unless you have any more
Sounds
questions
good.
for me.
That should be most of what we had for you.
Alright.
Just
We'll get
congratulations
our,
for moving on, and Trying to remember who he plays in the semifinals, but who you're
I don't
playing.
know yet. It will be either Jet or P-Twain.
Okay,
Not
just
quite
how do you feel
set
about
up.
how you feeling about that one of those matchups?
It will be hard. I have to study
Nothing's
them.
easy. Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
easy when you get to the semis, right?
Oh
Nothing
yeah,
easy
I
when you
can't
get to the
say like, oh,
quarters.
they're free, they're free.
We'll jump in though. Meanwhile, give your GGs in chat. Zelda crossing the bridge. An official SRL time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, 30 seconds. GGs to Zelda, who joins us now. Unfortunately, ending out the tournament life now. However, no stretch of the imagination was it easy to get here. Definitely can't be understated the work that you put in.
Yeah,
GGs.
congratulations on your tournament run.
Thank you. GG's. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's-
GG's as I go.
Yeah, GG's Ninban. There's no shame losing to Ninban.
No.
I'm a little upset in how I played. I've had a headache all day, and I think it showed in my play. It came across, and I kind of got tilted with a lot of overworld deaths, and that's the only reason I'm sad. I have no shame losing this round. I just wish the final performance had been a little smoother.
Yeah, it was a shaky start. The biggest thing, unfortunately, getting catfished. A long line of really good runners have been knocked out by that location. So you're joining some good company, I'd say.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Catfish has been taking names this tourney, so I'm just going to be one of the numbers.
As I was saying to our friends, I'm going to dip out to go to the Speed Gaming France interview, but I just wanted to congratulate you again on making it this far in the tournament. It was a really fun matchup against you. I'm glad we made it.
Yeah, I agree. And GG's, congrats moving on. I think it's Jet and P-Train are the potential opponents, but yeah, man,
Yeah.
take the whole thing. I'll be rooting for you.
I'm planning for it.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
luck in the semis, and congratulations on your win. And go speak some French. So I'm sure they're waiting for you.
Merci beaucoup.
All right, and based on how your last few runs have kind of went here for you, Zelga, how relieved were you to see that hookshot as early as you?
I was pretty happy with it. I was a little sad we didn't get the hook shot on Bombo's tablet, but I kind of jinxed it in the Game 2 interview. I said, well, we'll get a book, but I never find the mirror, so I won't be able to check Bombo's tablet. And that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Came pretty close. Yeah, I mean, mirror you got, but it was go mode at that point, so you're not going to go check it.
Yeah, honestly, I wanted to go straight into Turtle Rock, but that's honestly the entire reason I ran over to Ether Tablet first. Is just, well, it's got to be the book, right? But, nah.
Just unfortunately wasn't hiding that other item you were looking for. But I think we definitely have kind of already said already. It's wasn't easy making it this far in the tournament, and it's not undercutting it by any means. Big GG's making it to the top 8 out of darn near 300 people that started this here out of the qualifier stages. So it's no easy feat here.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is as far as I've ever been in a tournament, or ties as far as I've ever been. And I beat a lot of really good runners that honestly, some and most of them I would say I would consider better than myself. So I don't take it for granted that I made it this far, and I'm just really happy to be here.
Yeah, it was a really good run.
Thank you very much.
And really a joy I got to commentate two of these races, and I really hope I'm not just bad luck for you, but in general, it was a fun series to commentate.
No worries. No, I don't think there's any sort of bad luck charms or anything like that. I think I just made a lot of wrong choices in both of these seats, and I mean that's the nature of rando. Sometimes you're just always gonna get last location something.
Yeah, it's one of those where the route you take sometimes will be the guide route, other times it'll leave something behind, and you can do the very same route your next seed, and just smoke everybody. It like you said, it is the nature of rando at this point. With that kind of in mind, though, do you have any last thoughts or comments here for us, Zelga?
Not really. I kind of already said my piece, in that I already kind of surpassed my main goal for the tournament, which was just get a game in the round of 32 against Jim. So I mean, I'm already a lot farther than that. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I will, since you bring it up, I am going to congratulate you getting that Moldorm bounce to win that series. It was pretty darn cool. I watched that. I think I ended up watching that on a VOD, but I really enjoyed seeing that. So that was fun.
Yeah. Thanks. I was glad I was able to pull that off in a race, even if it took me like 8 minutes or something like that. I think Spy was actually on the comms for that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel pretty glad I was able to show that off in a race. If we manage to make it farther, that's cool, but it's always nice to kind of show off tech that some people may not know about.
That was definitely one of those fun ones to see actually work out, and still gave you the win in that one. It was, from my point of view too, that was definitely a fun one to sit up here and commentate.
All right, but that's pretty much gonna do it, I think. We do have some matches coming up. This is the last one for today, but now that we're in the quarterfinals, the number of matches is fewer and farther between. Tomorrow we have Game 2 between Ak the Boker and Yoshi at 1:20. At 2:20 we have Game 2, I believe is that Game 2 or Game 3 between Weighty Words and Doomtap? Yeah, no, sorry, that's Game 3.
It's Game 3.
Game 3, and then on Tuesday and Wednesday at 9:20 p.m. Game 2 and 3 between P-Train and Jet. I'm sure Ninban will be watching that to try and figure out what he needs to do against his next opponent, and getting through these quarterfinals, almost to the semis. Been a really fun tournament, and it's sad that it's going to almost be over, but also exciting that we're going to see a finish.
Definitely, it's getting right down to the wire here. It's almost been something you've been able to say since probably even the round of 64. And when we got to the brackets, any one of these runners at this point has an equal chance of taking this thing home. So be sure to stick around and watch each and every one of those races as we do get closer and closer to winding this thing down. I also do want to give a huge shout out to our tracker this evening, Regaro, basically doing the work behind the scenes, keeping us in line, doing
absolutely. Reg, one of the best trackers we got. So always thrilled to see when he's on tracking duty when I'm doing commentary.
That makes our job a whole lot easier.
Also, remember to follow these runners and to follow our tracker and my co-commentator, Spy Weaver. So go ahead and you can click those links in chat. Also, reminder, just follow the Speed Gaming channel. Speed Gaming 2 through 6, ALTTP Randomizer 2 through 5. For all your Link to the Past randomizer needs, as well as on the Speed Gaming channel, plenty of other things going on. I believe we have a lot of tournaments going on right now. Metroid Fusion, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers 3. I believe a Chrono Trigger randomizer just started, so a whole lot of stuff going on in the Speed Gaming family of networks.
Whole lot of action, a whole lot of fun. Also be sure to go ahead and give some love and give some follows over to my co-commentator as well for the evening, Tracy. But I believe with that all being said, that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. On behalf of myself and Tracy and everybody over here at Speed Gaming, thanks for joining, and we'll see you all next time for some more Link to the Past Randomizer. Have a wonderful evening.